cleric that is just running through your dungeons, wiping out massive amounts of enemies using spirit guardians. Today we're going to talk about how this might be ruining your Dungeons & Dragons games and how you can prevent it. So let's get started. So I am currently playing a blue Dragonborn Tempest Cleric in a Tomb of Annihilation game that my wife is running. And we recently hit 5th level about a session or two ago, and one of the first things I did was I took Spirit Guardians. Now, I've used this spell before in other campaigns, such as the Provokers over on Matt Click's A Fistful of Dice channel, and I've used it in other games as well. And it is one of my absolute favorite spells for obvious reasons. One, it's an area of effect spell. It's a radius of 15 feet. It does a lot of damage, and it can do it for a long amount of time if you can maintain concentration. So in this game, the Tomb of Annihilation game, we went into a dungeon with a ton of Terrafolk. And because the spell lasts 10 minutes, my goal was to rush through the dungeon as quickly as possible, leading my pack, and wipe out as many Terrafolk as I could using this spell. And it worked. I want to say I single-handedly wiped out about 12 to 16 of them, and it wasn't really much of a challenge. But it did use one of my 2 third-level spell slots. Now, when we did this, I kept thinking, man, this is OP. I wonder if this is fun for the other players. And the other players afterwards did say they had a lot of fun. In fact, they seemed to like the fact that I was able to wipe everything out. Now, this isn't something I plan on doing all the time as a player because I do not want to become a one-man wrecking crew. That's just not how I like to play my characters. Plus, I like to mix it up in what I do. So I'm hoping that, I won't feel the need to lean on this spell too much. However, I don't like playing a healing cleric much, and this actually got the rest of the party to finally fall in line and say, hey, maybe you should use your spell slots more offensively from now on. So that was a nice change. This group comes from a 2nd edition way of play where they think, hey, clerics are healing, fighters are fighting, wizards do this. They have these preconceived ideas, and I believe the last couple sessions using things like Spirit Guardians has changed some of their opinions as it pertains to how to play a character. So that is refreshing. Spirit Guardians, like I said, can be really powerful. It is a 3rd level spell slot. It lasts for up to 10 minutes, which is a large amount of time. And it does a lot of damage. The spell does 3d8 either radiant or necrotic damage, depending on if you are good, neutral, or evil. Now, 3d8 damage it's okay if you really just take it at that, but think about doing this round after round after round. And while this is happening, you can do other spells. Say the first round you do Spirit Guardians, it starts hitting all these monsters. The next round, you can hit them with a 3rd level Guiding Bolt for 566 damage. You can do other things for massive amounts of damage as long as it doesn't break your concentration. So the other thing you can do that I've found helpful in the past, to do a defensive action so that the enemies get disadvantaged to attack you. This I find very helpful to keep this going, and again, round after round, 3d8 damage. It's really powerful. I tend to average, based on my die rolls, 15 to 20 some odd hit points every round. It's great. And I know that's pretty high, but I feel like it's always doing at least, 5 or 6 on the die. So, 15 up to 20 hit points and boom, every round. So I find it very useful as a player. Now, as a DM, I've talked about this with other DMs. I feel like my worst nightmare is a party of clerics, all using this spell either at once on a big boss or back to back to back and alternating who's doing it. I feel like it could be game breaking. Not only can they heal, they can then do this. They can, cast aid. They can cast other things to give them bonuses to their saves and things like that. And I just think that they can really wreck a game if you let them, and centering it around this spell. So this spell uses verbal, somatic, and material components. Obviously, if your characters have a focus, then you don't have to worry about the material components, but you still have the verbal, you still have the hand gestures, right? So as a DM, you could rule that they have to have a weapon put away to do it, with their hands, assuming they have a shield. You also can try to disrupt the verbal aspect with other spells, such as silence, and things I've covered in other videos. The other thing, like I've said in previous videos, is you can hit them with focus fire. And if they break concentration, they lose the spell. Those are big things. However, to get into range to do that, you're going to get hit by the Spirit Guardians. So what I would do as a DM is try to hit them with ranged spells, things like Magic Missile, Eldritch Blast, Acid Splash, force them to make a saving throw, arrows. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Another thing that I think is a fun tip is throw minions, especially if they're using this on boss fights. Just have minions come in and do it. Add a resistance to the type of damage, such as radiant damage. Invulnerability to radiant damage. Maybe they're fighting a celestial creature that's invulnerable to radiant damage, or they're fighting something that's invulnerable to necrotic damage. Really just get creative with it. And again, like I've said before, and that's going to be a reoccurring theme in this series, do not use the same tactic over and over and over again. And I want to encourage you to talk to your player outside a game. Let them do it a couple times. Let them feel heroic, and then say, hey, I don't want it to get boring for you, the other players, or myself. If you could just mix up the spell you're using. I know Spirit Guardians is extremely effective. I don't want to nerf it. I don't want to ban it from the table. But if you could use other tactics here and there, that would be great. It would keep things fun for us. And, it'll keep our trust going, because I don't want to have to do something cheap in order to find my way around it. I still want to make creative, challenging encounters for you. And I find it very difficult when this spell is wiping out all my ideas very quickly. That's all you got to do. And I think it'll make for, one, better play at the table. I think most players will appreciate you, talking to them one-on-one about this. You don't have to talk about it as a group. Just one-on-one with the person and just say, hey, that spell is awesome. It's completely badass. But can we try something different every once in a while? I could see it slowing the game down for me and making it feel more like a chore to create challenging encounters and make me feel like I'm using some cheap tactics, So anyways, that's my thoughts on that. Now, Spirit Guardians, again, is a fantastic spell. I know there's other spells that might be more powerful, that might do more damage, that, might feel more game-breaking. Well, this is the series for that. This is the Breaking Your Game series. So if there is anything that you feel is breaking your game, please post it in the comments below. Send me a message on Twitter. Ask in my Discord. I will happily respond and look into it and possibly do a video on it moving forward. I love doing these videos. These are some of my favorites. I feel like they're the most helpful for you, the viewers. And, I take these ideas from what I see elsewhere, such as on Facebook pages, forums, Twitter, wherever. So that's where I get my inspiration for these videos. If I thought they were game breaking, then I would not be doing these videos. So clearly I think you can handle them and manage them in creative ways, such as with spells or other tactics. So that's my thoughts on this. If this is your first time here, I hope you will smash that subscribe button, hammer that like button, and comment below with your favorite part of this video and any suggestions you have for future Breaking Your Game videos. This was Master the Game. I am Juice. Game on.